exploring the connection between religiosity and voting. Republican episode, Faith in the Ballot Box. Welcome to DFG's Corner. Today's episode is titled Perspectives in Politics, where we dive deep into the currents shaping American democracy. I am DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and smooth as a Rolls Royce. And in today's episode, we explore a compelling and sometimes controversial question. Okay, is there a connection between religious observance and voting Republican in the United States, especially in the context of the 2024 presidential election? It's a core question. Let's begin by framing our discussion. Social scientists, political analysts, and journalists have long observed a possible link between a person's level of religious activity and their likelihood to support the Republican Party. But what does the data actually say? How does this relationship play out across different religious and racial groups? What the data shows. Recent post-election analyses from reputable sources like the Public Religion Research Institute, PRRI, and Pew Research Center provide valuable insights into voting patterns from the 2024 presidential race. Here are some key findings. Among white evangelical Protestants, support for the Republican candidate, Donald Trump, remained extremely high, with 85% casting their vote for him. This correlation intensifies among those who attend church regularly. White Catholics and white mainline non-evangelical Protestants also showed majority support for Trump at 59% and 57% respectively. Again, higher levels of church attendance among white Catholics were associated with increased support for Trump. Hispanic Protestants voted differently than their Catholic counterparts, with 64% supporting Trump compared to 36% for Kamala Harris. Voters with no religious affiliation, sometimes called nones, overwhelmingly favored Harris, with 72% casting their ballot in her favor. This group forms a significant segment of the current Democratic coalition. Other non-Christian groups, including Jewish voters, showed strong support for Harris as well, with 62% voting for her. Racial and religious complexity. Of course, the picture is more nuanced when we consider the intersections between race and religious identity. While religious observance is a predictor of Republican voting among white Americans, this pattern does not always hold for racial and ethnic minorities whose political affiliations are shaped by a broader array of historical, social, and cultural factors. So, what does all this mean? The correlation between religiosity and voting Republican is robust in certain groups, particularly among white evangelical Protestants and, to a lesser extent, white Catholics and Protestants. However, the relationship weakens or even reverses among other communities, such as religiously unaffiliated voters and non-Christian religious minorities. It's essential to approach these topics with nuance. While attendance at religious services is one contributing factor to voting behavior, it exists within a complex web of influences, including race, ethnicity, geography, socioeconomic status, and personal values. In conclusion, the data confirms a strong correlation between higher religious observance and voting Republican among white Americans. But the overall pattern varies significantly depending on one's religious tradition and racial background. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for anyone interested in the evolving landscape of American politics. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Perspectives in Politics. Be sure to subscribe for more in-depth discussions on the issues that shape our democracy. Till next time, stay curious and keep questioning.